Well, hello, colleagues. I know it's been a minute since we've seen each other. Nice to catch up, but it is 5 o'clock, and we do have a meeting scheduled. So I'm going to officially call this Committee of the Whole for the Kalamazoo City Commission to order from Monday, August 4th, 2025. Clerk Borling, please call the roll.
Commissioner Cooney. Present. Commissioner Decker.
Present.
Commissioner Hoffman.
Present.
Commissioner Pradel. Commissioner Wilson.
Present.
Vice Mayor Hess.
Present.
Mayor Anderson.
Here. Thank you, Clerk Borling. May I have a motion to excuse Commissioner Pradel? Motion made by Commissioner Decker.
Support.
Supported by Vice Mayor Hess. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay? Thank you, Commissioners. The motion passes. Communications, Manager Ritzma.
Nothing, Your Honor.
Now, thank you, Manager Ritzma. Now is the opportunity for public comments. Just a reminder here at the Committee of the Whole, public comments are 2 minutes, and you are welcome to comment on any item that is of interest to you. It isn't a time for dialogue, but a time for you to present your ideas to the Commission and the public.
Welcome back. I saw the pictures. Those looked like a fun trip. So I'm here. We're outside protesting ICE, protesting the sweeps against the unhoused, the executive order by Trump against the houseless people, ICE receiving $75 billion more dollars, some of that as soon as October 1st, to continue the raids, to continue the attack and the war on Latinx people. Because when you send the military against your own people, that's war. The Marines, when have the Marines ever been deployed in the United States against its own people? So this is very, very real. And we need to start making sure that our elected officials are vocal about what is happening, that you are speaking out and standing your ground. I know there's a lot of controversy around this issue, but the important thing right now is that we need politicians to support the efforts, the local efforts, the mutual aid efforts. And we see how KDPS targets the unhoused. So we really don't have a lot of faith that when ICE shows up in the city, that KDPS and the county agencies are not going to bend to the will of ICE. And we are going to make sure that you know that if this happens, we're going to be outside. We're going to be probably outside your houses protesting. We're going to be outside City Hall protesting. We're going to be in front of KDPS protesting. We're going to cause a fuss. I want to tell you right now, because fascism is here. We need to meet it with the same energy. I don't want to hear people tell me that my approach, that cussing is not allowed anymore. Why? Because my people are getting taken from the streets, okay? You know what that feels like? Some of you are too white to ever know, to experience that, but I had to live that since I've been growing up, and I'm tired of it. So we will match the energy if anything goes down in Kalamazoo, and we will be organized. This isn't just going to be a bunch of random citizens show. We're going to be organized and mobilized.
Thank you. Next, please.
Good evening. So we all know that ICE is coming. It's a win. We all know that. So we demand that this city be a sanctuary city. We've seen how KDPS, our elected officials, did our unhoused in 2021 with all those sweeps, didn't care, telling them to get out the city. So if that's what you did to our unhoused, I can just imagine what you would do to those that are undocumented, those that are documented, those that look like me. I can just imagine that you'll work with ICE and make sure that those families are broke up, took into different countries. We have no faith in this commission at all. And it's something that's been growing since 2020 or beyond. Y'all should take a stand and be out here and make sure that your citizens, those that are in this community, are protected, they are safe. But as of right now, we have no faith in this broken commission. We have no faith in a mayor that's going to stand up for people that don't look like him. I don't even know why you're running for re-election, because to you it's just a dollar. To you it's just another say, hey, I'm in this seat. But the most important thing is those that are in your community. Our babies are beyond what's needed to protect them and make sure they're safe. So for you to run for re-election is bullshit.
Thank you. Next, please.
I can remember, I'm Jody. I can remember talking to a Mr. Hody. I can't remember his name exactly. Steve Hody. Hody. He was running for senator. And he invited me to this party at his house. And I was glad to go. So I'm talking with these people, and just before I walked off, I had mentioned something to him about a spaceship. And I walked off, and I was just so surprised because I thought, now how am I going to produce a spaceship? But there's been things that have occurred that are just amazing. I told you about the key in KVCC in the classroom. I've had a couple other experiences, so I don't know. I'm just wondering, you know, the president works with all kinds of states, and I believe there's something being comprehended, but the distance is there. He doesn't know where the person is. I don't know if there's something that could be mentioned, because I think China's having the same thing. These people are real to me. It's just not as realistic as being presented one-to-one, face-to-face. I don't know, I'm kind of slow on not knowing what to do. I'm just not sure what to do. Like the birth of a spaceship, the birth of a child, you know, there's caretakings you have to go through, but you don't exactly know every move.
Thank you. Your time is up. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Is there anyone else in the chambers who would like to make a comment for the Committee of the Whole meeting this evening? I just want to thank everyone who took the time, made the effort to come down here to the Committee of the Whole. I appreciate it. Next is communications. Manager Ritzma.
We already had communications.
Communications. That's
None, Your Honor.
none. Okay. Thank you. Now we are to the work of this Committee of the Whole work session. Manager Ritzma.
Thank you, Mayor. And I'd like to ask our communications manager, Mike Smith, to come forward. He is going to give us an update on the city's communications plan. And this plan is a 3-year plan going out to 2028. So, Mike, the floor is yours.
Welcome, Mike. Nice to have you here.
Okay, good afternoon or good evening, everybody. Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Commissioners, it's great to be here again. I was here 3 years ago when I first joined the city just to talk about communications and where we are, where we need to be in terms of communication. And so 3 years later, I'm happy to be back here and kind of share with you some of the things that we've been doing since I joined the city. It's a great honor to be a part of the city government. And I'll just pretty much start off by sharing with some of the things that we're talking about here. Basically, the plan summary, what we're talking about here will be in terms of what we want to do to support and connect the strategic plan that's outlined by Imagine Kalamazoo 2025. Of course, we're going to be doing Kalamazoo 2035 as well, and the vision for Kalamazoo's future. And then we want to strengthen our engagement with the key stakeholders who are going to be the residents, the neighborhoods, the community groups, city departments, regional governments as well, in establishing our annual strategic priorities in collaboration with city departments and you folks, the Kalamazoo City Commission as well. So here are the guiding principles that we want to follow, basically. So open, responsive, accessible, proactive. We want to provide for government transparency for all audiences. We want to be responsible, and respond quickly to change, whatever that looks like. We want to be accessible. We want to make that information easy to find and available to all audiences, and we want to be proactive by engaging the city stakeholders to provide information and determine what their future needs may be. So those are our guiding principles in terms of communications. The communications chart, the organizational chart that we have here, we have myself as a communication manager, and you can see the responsibilities under my category. But we also have public safety, public information officer, who is Zach Hamilton, and he's been with the city for about a year now. The communications coordinator is Neil Conway, and most of you have worked with Neil over the last 10 or 12 years or so, and his responsibilities. And marketing and communication specialist, who is Amanda Cockroth. And all three of these individuals, they have unique talents. I have certain skills and so forth, but these individuals, they are really special in what they do and who they are. The team that we have, I think is probably, for the city, the size of city that we have, I think it's probably one of the best teams you can find anywhere as well. So those are their responsibilities and my responsibilities as well. Going forward, we have the communication flow structure. So basically, the communications from city leadership, you folks, the city commission, the departments, the city departments, communications will flow into the city communications. And so down below that, we'll have the responsibilities there. So we're talking about overseeing the communications, including the media relations. We want to establish and implement communication plans to build the branding and support media and community relations. We want to utilize communication platforms for the boards, the committees, the reports, and other functions. And then finally, we want to find ways in which we can measure and implement the outcomes and performance indicators, basically using metrics to see what we're doing as well. So now we get to the strategic goals and objectives. So the first goal we're talking about would be in terms of telling our story. We want to be able to share timely, accurate, important, and relevant information to the external and internal stakeholders. We want to be able to communicate our decisions and actions through the media and our digital platforms. We want to make sure that we're making that information readily available and easy to comprehend. And then finally, we want to guide the city leadership on media relations and projects to ensure that they are communicated through our city brand. And some of the tactics or actions that we have highlighted on the right side here in blue, in terms of the speeches, statements, talking points, frequently asked questions, and I know some of you, I've worked with you in terms of speeches and statements as well, videos, media releases, social media posts that you see as well, our City View newsletter, the City Commission meeting highlights, the Kalamazoo and You video series. Now that's something that I'll share with you in a minute, but that's also a public affairs kind of a program that we established about almost a year ago. Information content, community calendars, and then measuring in terms of growing our media analytics, growing in our online and social media postings, and also measuring the media analytics in terms of reach and likes as well. So here are some of the video highlights or actions that we're talking about. The City Commission updates. After every commission meeting, Neil and I will come into the chamber here, and then we will do a highlight in terms of what you talk about the night before. And so that's something that we do every couple of weeks or after each City Commission meeting. The public affairs program is called Kalamazoo and You. Some of you may have seen this. We post this online as well. And I started the Kalamazoo and You, like I said, several months ago, almost a year ago. We tape interviews at PMN Studios. Sometimes we'll go on site to do stories or conversations as well about whatever programs or projects that are happening as well in the city as well. So that's the public affairs program in terms of the video highlights that we do as well. The Kalamazoo public safety videos, this is where Zach Hamilton comes in. And Zach, as I said a few minutes ago, he has a unique skill in terms of videos. And so maybe some of you may have seen the Riding with Rhodey video or video segments that are posted. Sitting in the bay, there's something new that Zach is working with public safety as well. So again, he is really good at what he does in terms of creating videos for public safety as well. Infrastructure videos. Some of you have seen these posted as well. We use James Baker frequently on postings, and we're going out on site to get his take on what's happening in terms of infrastructure as well. So that's something else that we want to make sure that we do a lot of as well. City View newsletter publication. The City View newsletter is something that we started in January of 2024. It's something that we're very proud of. I have with me here the awards from the National Association of Government Communicators. We received third place for the newsletter in the conference that was held in Pittsburgh earlier this year. And so this is something, again, that for something that we started about almost a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, to have an award like this, to be considered among the best municipal newsletters in the country, that's something that I'm extremely proud of. So that's why I have that highlighted there. So I don't know where we're going to put this, but we'll find a nice place to put this as well. The second goal that we talk about in terms of public engagement, we want to make sure that we're engaging the public through events, the digital platforms, and city services. Some of the objectives would be increasing awareness and participation in programs and activities. The National Community Survey related to city communications, we want to make sure that we're addressing the community feedback from that biannual survey. And then we want to provide communication through community platforms involving organizations and neighborhood associations as well. So again, the action highlights, or the tactics basically on the right side, again, the City View newsletter, and engaging with the partner organizations and neighborhood associations, establishing a community database, and then recording those interviews on city issues and city commission meeting summary that we do here in the chambers as well, and the public affairs program again through the Kalamazoo NU program that we do. Measuring growth in Imagine Kalamazoo online traffic and increasing in community engagement media coverage as well. Now, as part of the public engagement, the second goal, I mentioned the National Community Survey that you all are familiar with. One of the things that I pulled from that survey in terms of communications, it talks about preference, and it talks about what respondents are hoping or wanting to see from communications. And basically, according to the surveys, they prefer the direct mail, the city website, local news outlets as their sources for obtaining information. Governance, I found it interesting that we get slightly lower national benchmarks for being open and transparent to the public. So 36% 2025 versus 39% in 2021. And it's interesting because I think we're doing more in terms of providing communications and different forms of communication to the public and trying to be more transparent. So it's interesting. There's something we have to work on as well. But again, it's interesting to get this slightly lower benchmark in our efforts to be open and transparent to the public. Inform. We get similar national benchmarks in informing residents about the issues facing the community, 41%. And inclusivity and engagement, our residents give similar national benchmark ratings on how we engage with the community, 47% this year versus 46% in 2021. So we got a lot more to do as well. So those are some interesting findings that I got from the NCS earlier this year as well. Brand management. We want to ensure that our brand is used consistently and that the logo that we use is used appropriately and often in all communications. When I first came to the city, I found that departments and other individuals are using the logo in pretty much any way they wanted to. And what I wanted to do was to make sure that we were consistent in terms of how we use the logo, how we use the brand, and making sure that everybody is on the same page with regard to the brand and with regard to the logo. So quality communications that adhere to community industry best practices and standards, brand identity reflecting and representing the city in the minds of stakeholders. So again, we want to make sure that the stakeholders, the community, when they see the Kalamazoo brand, they know what it stands for as well. And in terms of action highlights, collaborating with partners and social media influencers, I should say, in developing the city brand and style guide and responding to social media messages as well. Emergency communication. We want to make sure that we develop and disseminate emergency information, prepare department leaders and emergency responders, manage media relations. So far, thank goodness, we have not had any kind of emergency situations other than weather-related situations. But when we do have those situations, we want to make sure that we're complementing existing emergency management plans and collaborating with the Emergency Preparedness and Resource Coordinator. We want to make sure that we're engaging with the media to inform the public and then reporting issues and events to senior leadership. Some of you may remember Brandy James, who is now with the Kalamazoo County, and she was the Public Safety Emergency Preparedness Coordinator for a few years before she joined the county. They also now have Sergeant Justin Woolbrink, who has now replaced Brandy in that role as well. So again, the speeches, statements, and talking points in terms of the actions, media release distribution, making sure that we're engaging with the community and county municipalities and organizations, and engaging with public safety emergency coordinators as well. A measurement, growing our city coverage through media analytics, higher online social media postings, and media analytics growth and reach and likes as well. Media relations. We want to make sure that we're developing and maintaining a positive working relationship with members of the media. I'm the spokesperson for the city. We want to make sure that we are being proactive in terms of getting the news releases out there, briefs, media advisories, and other announcements, making sure that we're responding timely to media requests, and updating and expanding and aligning media relations policy with communication industry trends as well. So the action highlights that you see on the right, distributing our media releases regarding our programs and services. We're communicating directly with reporters, such as Audrey over here, to deliver information, discuss stories, and schedule interviews, and biannual meetings with local media outlets as well. So we're conducting analysis of media contacts, social media, media relations policy, and then growing our online and social media postings and increasing our media coverage and media analytics as well. Employee engagement communications. We want to make sure that we're informing our internal audiences on what we do. We want to make sure that we are building awareness and support among our staff on effective communications. And then we want to make sure that we educate our staff on media relations and social media to promote greater staff media interactions. Some of the things that I do is I provided a media relations policy for internal audiences. You know, we posted those internally as well on our intranet site too. So that way our staff can know what to do in terms of media relations and how to have us involved in those situations as well. We have the Inside the City SharePoint as the primary internal portal. Every month, once a month, we have what is called a cross-department meeting. And on this cross-department meeting, I am meeting with department heads or representatives from different departments to talk about whatever is going on in their respective departments. And I think this is a great way for us to know what each other is doing in terms of our different departments, and maybe we can learn from each other as well. So that's one of the reasons why I set up this cross-department meeting, to have this meeting every month to talk about what's going on internally as well. Greater interaction with human resources, DEI as well, Tanya and her staff, and then the city manager's office internal staff email distribution. And what this is, we started doing this about a year ago, in which we will work with Jim and in terms of getting information that he wants to let the community or let the internal community know what's happening as well. So pretty much every other week or so, we put together this internal staff email, and we send that out to the staff as well. Measurement, growing in intranet engagement, measuring our department usage of the brand, and we can do that through internal surveys as well. And we want to make sure that we're growing our city positions and staff recruitment and retention and critical DEI programs. And again, working closely with Tanya and her staff on that as well. Finally, City Commission communications. And I've been fortunate and thankful to be able to work with some of you in terms of some of your communications as well, in terms of working with you on letters, statements, talking points, representing the city on your behalf as well. And again, we want to do that through prioritizing our communications and our community relations through good governance, outreach, and supporting the leadership in the policy direction for the community, and assisting with communication decisions, nurturing and sustaining city commission and resident relations, and assisting with partner organizations and strengthening the relationships with city manager office and the city staff. And again, those action highlights here, the city commission video highlights that we produce here in the chamber, and we post those as well. The assisting commissioners on media releases, city-related statements and speaking points on city issues and events. And again, like I said a few seconds ago, I've worked with some of you on that as well. Recognizing the city staff at commission meetings to highlight staff experience and expertise. A measurement, we want to make sure that we're doing higher city coverage through media analytics and increasing the percentage of media exposure and the growth in reach and likes in terms of media analytics as well. Social media summary, we get a lot of questions about what we're doing in terms of social media. Neil and I pulled this together a few months ago, and so we updated this recently as well. But right now, in terms of Facebook, we have roughly about 32,000 followers, roughly 2.7 million views, roughly 45,000 visits or so. Our audience, I find, is always interesting, especially in terms of Facebook. 69, almost 70% of the audience for Facebook are female, 31% males or so. And I've always found that interesting because I never really had an answer as to why the large gap in terms of the gender audience for Facebook. For some reason, and maybe someone can explain that to me, but for some reason, more women or more females seem to gravitate toward Facebook than males do. On the other hand, you'll see a lot of males gravitating toward Twitter or X, as well as Reddit, too. So it's an interesting dynamic. Instagram, roughly 10,000 followers, 190,000 views. The audience, again, heavily female, and roughly 22%, 35 to 44 age group. LinkedIn, 52,000 impressions and 1,100 reactions as well. The Facebook summary, I pulled this together just a couple of weeks ago, and you can kind of see where we started off in January, and we're slowly and steadily moving up in terms of getting engagement and getting reach and all that with regard to Facebook. So, we're doing something right. 3.6% from the previous 243 days. And like I said, I started this about a couple of weeks ago, so it's probably changed a little bit since then. But that's the latest data that I was able to pull from Facebook. But again, as you can see, a slow, steady increase in terms of reaction and engagement from the public as well on Facebook too. I looked at other cities to see what's happening in terms of social media. This is from June. This has probably changed, the last month has probably changed a little bit since then, but I haven't pulled the data or received the data yet for July. But in terms of June and where we are in comparison to our regional cities, we account for about 60% of the share of voice by mentions, and excuse me, and Facebook gave the city the most coverage, or 24 mentions. Now you look at the share of voice by mention, and it shows City of Kalamazoo slightly down at 17%. The city of Grand Rapids, basically no change. The city of Portage was up slightly, 4%. And the city of Battle Creek up 14% as well. And this is share of voice by mentions. The sentiment here, this is where they're talking about positive and negative coverage of issues and events and activities and such. So again, you'll see the City of Kalamazoo getting pretty good positive sentiment or reaction from the public or from the social media. City of Grand Rapids, fairly positive, neutral as well. City of Portage, a little less so. In the City of Battle Creek, more negative mentions or sentiment for the City of Battle Creek as well. Social channel mix down at the bottom, you'll see Facebook. Well, again, we're pretty much dominant in terms of Facebook. Grand Rapids, kind of a mixture of Facebook as well as excuse me, a mix of X or Twitter as well. LinkedIn, excuse me, LinkedIn, City of Portage and the City of Battle Creek, not much showing there as well. In terms of Reddit and also in terms of Blue Sky as well. So in retrospect, what do we do? So we're talking press releases, talking points, FAQs, the community newsletters that we do. We do a lot of direct mail and postcards, especially on projects, infrastructure projects as well, that we do a lot of that. The community contacts database that I created as well, the internal staff emails that go out every couple of weeks or so, the video series and highlights, the Kalamazoo and You series that is posted on social media, websites, social media, and inside the city, the intranet, and the City Commission email updates that you receive as well every Friday. So the key outcomes that we're talking about here, we want to make sure that we are expanding the videos to help tell our story. We want to make sure that we're growing approval ratings among the residents on all the services, and the livability of Kalamazoo through the National Community Survey as well. And finally, we want to make sure that we're growing online and social media postings as well. That's pretty much the presentation at this point. Are any questions? Oh, that's my contact information as well. And you're welcome to contact me anytime. But other than that, that's it. And I'll be happy to accept any questions for you at this time from you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Smith. I appreciate it. I appreciate all your efforts in this department. Very important undertaking for the City of Kalamazoo. Questions for Mr. Smith at this time? Vice Mayor Hess.
Sure. Congratulations, Michael, on this award. That's great.
This is fantastic.
Whenever that comes to my mailbox, I'm like, it's here. And hopefully it's everything that we up here know. But it's nice to know that everyone in the City of Kalamazoo is able to read that as well. The things that make us more engaged citizens. You mentioned social media influencers, and I don't know if we've hired them or if we use them or how we use them. Can you go into a little bit more depth about that? I know that Discover Kalamazoo has brought in influencers and social media influencers and so on to tell the great story of Kalamazoo and what we're doing. Do you have any further information about that, and how can we get more involved with that?
Now, again, that was which particular organization?
The Discover Kalamazoo.
Discover Kalamazoo, yeah. Okay. I really don't know if I have an answer to that particular issue or Discover Kalamazoo, but I can probably say that I think that by getting more involved in that particular organization, that we can maybe do more things in terms of highlighting some of the things that we do in the community and some of the things that they do in the community, and how we can connect and collaborate with Discover Kalamazoo as well in terms of some of the projects and events and activities that they do and how they align with the city's mission as well. So hope that answers the question for you too. So
yeah, they do, and I just wondered if there were any more further plans to engage with influencers coming into the city and helping us do that and tell our story. Thank you for doing that.
Yes, Commissioner Decker.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Smith, for that presentation, and it's always great to see more communication going out, and I know Commissioner Prado is very happy with the newsletter that's been going out. I think a lot of the residents here in the City of Kalamazoo are. So just a couple questions for you, or just inputs. So one thing, as I've been out in the community, and especially now sitting on the Neighborhood Association for West End Hill, one of the things that we talked about was the surveys that go out, and what low participation rates we have within some of those surveys. What do you plan on doing to get more participation in those surveys that we spend thousands of dollars for, to get more of that feedback from the community?
Well, I think one of the things that we can definitely do would be to do more community relations engagement with organizations, perhaps, and then find ways in which we can leverage those relationships with those organizations and community partners as well. And in terms of surveys that those organizations or partners may do, in which we can find ways in which we can leverage the communication and the relationship that we may have with those organizations as well. And maybe do more city surveys to those organizations and to the partners and to the community at large as well.
Okay, so yeah,
Yeah.
what I think I heard was, as we start to do surveys, more surveys here within the city, that you would reach out to, say, some of these organizations and say, hey, we're going to do a survey, would you post our survey on your website or something like that, or make it more known to your employees or individuals within that organization? Is that what I heard?
And collaborating with those organizations on those particular projects or as well. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Yes, thank you for that.
I think that's very important for us to do. I think it also makes us, in terms of more community focused and providing more and improved community relations across the board as well.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
The other thing is, you talk about, I've seen the commission minutes, that you do online. It talks about what the commission does. And keeping our residents informed of things that go on in the city. How do you see that working alongside some of the boards that we have right now? Do we do a planning commission update anywhere? Where would these besides having to go to a website and look things up, could that be something maybe that you go to one of their meetings and, do a 1-minute spotlight on some of the things that they have passed that may not come to the commission, that people may not know if we don't need to approve it? And that would go for any board in the city.
Okay. So to elaborate more on what you're asking or what you're alluding to, again? Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. So we give information of what happens here at the end of our city commission meetings. How does the information get out to the public of, say, what happens at the civil rights meeting, or what happens at the FFE meetings, or what happens at the zoning board of appeals meetings? People find out that information, A, when it's too late and decisions have already been made, or B, just don't go and check things out on, Civic Clerk to see if it's updated. I'm thinking maybe we can incorporate, maybe go in there and maybe doing a 1-minute thing on what happened there too.
Yeah, I think we're talking about more highlights in terms of what the decisions are made by the commissioners as well. Maybe on my part, maybe even doing more of the video highlights or more interviews with city staff, or maybe talking to individually to each of you as well as to what was discussed, and maybe finding ways in which we can highlight that on social media as well, because really that's where the majority of information is flowing from and flowing into is social media. And I think we have to do more involvement in terms of social media and getting information out to what the city is doing and what the commissioners are doing through our social media platforms as well, and also through videos. When I was at the conference in Pittsburgh, and when we received the award, one of the things that really struck out to me was how everybody talked about videos. This award that I received, there were probably about 200 or so entries, not just for the newsletter, but also for other categories as well. But one of the things that I thought about and heard in Pittsburgh was everybody's doing videos. Everybody's doing social media, and that's how they're getting the information out. And I think we're doing a good job of that, but I think we can also do a better job of that as well. And I think I mentioned it in my presentation that's one of the things that I really want to focus on is in terms of doing more videos, getting more social media out there so people can know what you folks are doing and what we as a city are doing as well. It's more than just sending out a press release. I think the press release that we do, the press release is a part of the brand. But at the same time, I don't want to say it's an outdated communication tactic or method, but at the same time, compared to the electronic, digital, high-speed kind of information that flows from the city government, that's something that we really need to do more of as well. So we'll always do the press release, but at the same time, we want to make sure that visually and through social media, we're getting that information out there more than ever as well.
Yes, I agree. And congratulations on the award. Only after 1.5 years, I think it shows definitely what an asset you are to the city. If you can come in here and put all this stuff together, and within a year award, within a year and a half, getting 3rd place, that's wonderful. So I'm kind of going through some of the goals here. So emergency communication. There's a lot of things that are happening right now within our city that, as we heard from one day, about things that are happening within the world altogether. I believe that within the emergency communication, especially in the time that we're in right now, maybe that this can also be at the forefront when we know what's coming down from Washington and things like that, because our residents are scared, and I know emergency preparedness is more about if there's fires, spills, train wrecks, just things, nature and certain things like that, or just things that need to get out into the public, so they know really what they're doing. And I think that maybe it's kind of looking at that too, and some of maybe kind of incorporating that maybe a little bit into the emergency communication when we talk about ICE. That was just some ideas. And then the media relations. So I love it that we're going to be hopefully talking more with our news stations about doing more positive coverage, because I had a chance. I was in a different city and I was at an event, and these events take place in Grand Rapids and they take place in Kalamazoo, and one of the individuals said, we watched them, there was 3 or 4 people that were doing news stations that had news stations there that were talking about the great events that were happening, and they said to me, I never see some of our news stations here promoting some of these good things, which I know they do. There's a lot of good things that happen in the city. They just may not know or have the capacity to get to all of these. So I'm really glad that you're definitely going to be working more with them. Now Kalamazoo is a great media outlet.
Yep.
I have noticed, I read them quite often, and they are definitely one of the news outlets that talk a lot about some of the great things and events that happen within the city. So I just want to put that out there, give a shout out to them, because I know they're working hard, and I see a lot of their stuff, and people actually comment to me on their stuff there. So I think you're doing a great job. Let's see how much more engagement we can get as we move forward, and thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And as I said in the beginning, 3 years now with the city, and it has its challenges. It definitely has its challenges, but it's also very rewarding as well. And I've done a lot of things over my career, and working in healthcare, working in higher ed, and being a speechwriter, and all those kinds of positions that I've had over the last few decades. And I think working with the city, working with municipal government is probably the most challenging, but also most rewarding job that I've had as well. And I have I'm blessed to really work with a great team. Those folks back there, they have my back. And they know that I'm going to be there, for them as well. I may not have all the answers, but I'll definitely try to get the information as best as I can to help the team as well. And but again, it's these folks are fantastic to work with, And I'm truly blessed to be a part of that team as well. And I'm also truly blessed to have the relationships that I have with you folks as well. And in the 3 years that I've been here, I've gotten to know each of you. And, you're fantastic at what you do, and you're totally dedicated and committed to the city and to the community as well. So that's why I say it's a blessing to be a part of this as well. So when I go home sometimes at night, my wife asks me how are things going. Yeah, things are good. Things are good. We've had some rough times, but things are good overall. So, yeah.
Thank you, Mike. Other questions or comments, Commissioners? Yes, Commissioner Cooney.
Mike, thanks. That's a wonderful presentation. I'm really amazed at the comprehensive nature of all this, a lot of different areas. So one thing that I've always thought is a problem, and when I hear people talk about issues that the city is facing, like homelessness, like crime, like kids, what's happening with kids, like low-income people, it seems to me that people in the city don't really know what is being done in those areas and what the gaps are. I always thought that it would be a great thing. I tried to get Western to do this, but they didn't do it. Hold forums where we have people come in and say, look, here's the stuff we're doing. You talk about housing and homelessness. We got a story to tell here. Yeah. But then admitting, here's gaps. We're not being able to do this. We don't have resources. Take kids, have people come in for the schools and talk about what they're doing, what the people at the Promise are doing, what the KidNet, Boys and Girls Club, all these different things, but then saying, okay, we still got these gaps and what are things, and then get people knowing what's there and what the gaps are. Yeah. I think to be the catalyst to get something like that going, I think would be a great service to the community.
And it's interesting you brought that up, especially with regard to the houseless issue. In fact, we, the new deputy city manager and I, along with Neil and Amanda, we were in a meeting early this morning, and we were talking about how we can possibly find a way to tell the story in terms of what we're doing in terms of homelessness as well. One thing we were talking about was maybe creating a web page dedicated to what we're doing in the city with regard to the unhoused as well. And I think right now, I don't think we really have a landing page focused specifically on the houseless, the unhoused, I should say. And maybe that's something that we should possibly, or could possibly do as well. So that may be a good time to have a conversation with the city planner, with the other deputy city manager, Rebecca Kick, Sherilyn Parsons, the community development manager, and CPAD, to look at ways that maybe we can find a way to help tell what we're doing with regard to the unhoused. Where we're talking roughly about over $30 million in, over the last few years in terms of what the city has devoted to the unhoused or to that particular issue as well. And I think that's something we can definitely look at doing to help tell that story, to help tell what we're doing. I know Commissioner Prado mentioned that at the last meeting, toward the end of the last meeting. And a lot of people really don't know that, yet they come here and they're yelling at you folks and saying you're not doing anything, and we know that you're doing something. We know that. And I think most understandable people know what the city is doing, but at the same time, we're maybe not doing enough to tell the people what you folks are doing and what we as a city are doing as well with regard to that particular issue.
And I think, Mike, that would be a great start, and I think maybe having other organizations like ISK and some of the other groups that are working on housing be there and say, here's some of the things we're doing, and so people at least know what's out there and what the gaps are. I don't know.
Yeah.
Thank you, Commissioner Cooney. Vice Mayor Hess.
Sure, I'd like to follow up on that. Thank you, Commissioner Cooney, for bringing that up. You and I both attend the monthly meetings that are at Public Safety, where the community service team that works with public safety, with the unhoused, brings in all the people who are collaborating and working on this issue. I mean, you go in there knowing that it's a huge issue, and I come out with great hope, knowing that there is so much more going on than I even knew about. And so I think the more that we might make those kind of things public, I don't know how they can be made public or if they should be, but like the degree to which the city is collaborating with other entities like ISK, with those working with the unhoused. It gives me great hope. And I think that's what you, and I know that's what you in your heart want to do, is to give people hope about the city in which they live, and that the city actually cares. And I know it, and everyone up here knows that the city cares and that we care. But I think you're doing a great job of letting the people know, and just let them know how much more we collaborate with those folks.
Yeah, thank you. And again, we have to do more in terms of engaging with the partners, the community partners, to make sure that they know, the community knows what's going on and what we're doing and what you folks are doing to help support those partners as well. So there's a lot happening, but there's a lot more that we can do to tell what's going on, and so the public can know what's actually happening. So, yeah.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Hess. Other questions or comments for Mr. Smith? All right, well, thanks once again. You know, it's interesting. You come here and open the door and talk about all the wonderful communication that's going on, and then you leave with many more suggestions about what you can do and add to it. So thanks for not feeling burdened by that. I'm going to add to it just a little bit. I got a couple questions here. Just past, we just passed Disability Pride Month. That was in July, and it was the 35th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act passing on July 26th, just this past month. So I just want to make sure, we don't have to get into any details here, that we continue to pay attention to the modalities of communication that we have to make sure that we are hitting those accessibility standards for people who might, get their information one way or another. I know you're thinking about that, but I just want to raise that up since we just passed that here in July. And back to the community survey, I think that's every 2 years, I believe.
2 years.
I think the next one's in 27, or I think this one was 25 survey. I think so.
Yeah.
So anyway, as far as that goes, it is always a little discouraging to see the portions of that survey where you're falling below benchmark measured against either yourself in the past or other communities. And I think it would be nice if we could figure out a way in the intervening year, to measure ourselves, to try to set ourselves up for some better scores, because hopefully we're doing a better job in those areas. And I don't know what that looks like, but some of the things might be, if we're ranking lower on something called transparency, what does that mean to people? You can kind of guess what that means, and maybe there's some obvious answers to that, but get some clarity about when you say there's not enough transparency, is there something specific about that? And maybe we can measure ourselves, in between those community survey times, just to see in just a few given areas where we're ranking lower than we want, how can we improve before that next survey comes along? That means we're doing a better job. One thing that is interesting to me, talking about Now Kalamazoo, is the work, and I'm sure you're following this, that Public Media Network is doing specifically on local government, and I'm sure you're watching that. And we're talking about doing town halls and that sort of thing. I don't know how much time people have to watch a town hall an hour long or that kind of thing, but I can tell you that you do, this is why Instagram's so popular and YouTube, you do get people who will click into those short soundbite videos as well. And for example, our meetings are all taped that are in this room, Zoning Board of Appeals, for example, and someone over at PMN will go through the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting, post that, you'll see the whole thing available, linked to PMN, and then they will say, watch from minute 41 to 45. Interesting point got discussion, point was discussed right there, which I think is interesting and provides some immediacy of accessibility to that without just sitting, going through these meetings. It does remind me, when you look at those tapes online, that often our sound system is not very good. And it is often difficult to hear what people are saying. I don't know what the problem is there. Is it just the individual speaking into the microphone? I don't know what that challenge is. But here's one last thing, I guess, just adding to the workload and talking about great things that are happening. I did go to the Detroit Lions Pals football camp over at Mayor's Riverfront Park this weekend, which was a wonderful event. Folks from Detroit Lions there, and there was a retired player, and I'm blanking on his name, Detroit Lions player, who came to that camp, and even though there were young people who were running a lot of drills, he came in and provided a bit of a kind of a life pep talk, I would call it. And from his experience, I don't know if you heard anything about that, but as I was there watching that, and there were a few dozen young people there, and of course, Johnny, our PALS coordinator and that sort of thing, but I thought, wow, that would be awesome to have gotten that clip from that Detroit Lions player and link that on our page, and so that could be more generally witnessed. And I know there's a lot of those kind of opportunities. In essence, once again, I'm saying, well, add to your workday, get out on the weekends or in the evenings and grab some of those things. I know it takes editing and a lot of work, but I think that all said, a lot of opportunities, a lot more suggestions, got to figure out where we can best spend our time, but I really appreciate your efforts in being open to hearing all this feedback as well. So thanks for doing it.
Yeah. A lot of information to learn from as well.
Yeah,
so
thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, colleagues, appreciate it.
Good.
And thank you, Mike Smith. Anything else, Manager Ritzma?
Nope, that concludes our work session.
All right, thank you. Now is the opportunity for commissioner comments at the Committee of the Whole. Just a reminder for anyone that's watching, opportunity for commissioner comments at our business meeting that will start in just a little over an hour tonight. Any commissioner comments for the good of the order for this meeting? All right, seeing none, we are adjourned.